Agutavach Chullin Peiches. We were discussing the serum of blood, meaning when blood congeals, there's a clear liquid that comes to the top, and is that metama like the blood itself? Says the Gemara, when it comes to a mace, a dead body, blood is metama, and so too the serum of the blood is metama as long as it has some sort of redness, it looks like blood. Bodily fluids coming out of a mace are not metama at all, they're tahar. So if you have tears, miraglayim, milk from a woman, all those bodily fluids are not metama at all, provided that they come out through a shvifera, says Taisvis, some sort of pipe, because if they come out regularly, then they touch the body of the mace and they become tummy just from touching the mace. A tful yoim, that is a person that was tummy, went to the mikveh that day and is waiting for nightfall to become completely tar. That period of time between the time he went to the mikveh and nightfall is he's almost completely tar, but not quite right. In other words, if he touches truma and kachim, they become pasul, but if he touches chulin, they're not pasul at all. So his bodily fluids are completely tar. A zav is different. A zav, his bodily fluids have halacha of a rishon. So in other words, anything that touches his bodily fluids become one step less than a rishon, which are a sheni, and anything that touches them become a shlishi. And so too, the bodily fluids of a sheretz, says Rashi, for instance, if there's collected urine in a sheretz, meriglaim, that meriglaim is mitama a sheni. It is a rishon and it makes a sheni. So the question is, why is it that the bodily fluids of a zav are tamei, whereas the bodily fluids of a mace, which would seem a lot worse, a lot more chamor, are not tamei? And the answer is because everybody could tell that this thing right over here is a mace. So chacham didn't have to enact gzeira. Masha'enkein, by a zav, you can't really tell that he's a zav, so therefore they made a gzeira that it should be tamei as a rishon. Now, says the Gemara, there are 5 mashkim, liquids that are avatuma, have an extremely strong tumah to them. The first one is the spittle of a zav. The Torah speaks about it, and therefore it's avatuma, and anything similar to the spittle of a zav is also avatuma. In other words, anything that collects in his body is avatuma, such as his ziva itself, his emission of ziva, or his meraglayim. The other thing that's Tomei Tumas Av Hatuma for everybody is Shichva Zera and the Dam Nida. There's a 3-way machlokes in the Gemara. What do we learn from the word by Kis Adam? It says Damai, it's blood. So Rabbi Yehuda holds Damai means even part of the blood you could cover, and you don't have to cover all the blood. The Tanna Kama holds Damai means Damai, all the blood. So even blood that's on the makam hashchita on the neck, you have to go and cover it. If it sprayed somewhere else, you have to go and cover every part of the blood. Rav Shimon Gamliel says you have to cover all of damai, its main blood, its dam nefesh, the blood that the neshama came out with. Says the Mishnah, what could we use for kisi adam? So the Mishnah goes through a whole list of things, and the bottom line is, says Rav Shimon Gamliel, these are all things that you could grow plants, you could grow things in them, such as the Mishnah says if you have thin manure, small pieces, not large pieces, smaller, thin pieces of sand, lime, and earthenware, anything very thin. But if they're larger pieces, it's no good. You could even take a stone and crush it. That would be something that plants grow in it, so that would be good and kosher for Kisi Adam. Says the Gemara, you cannot cover it with some sort of kli, with a tent. It has to be something that absorbs, as we're going to see soon. When the Torah says, and how do we know that it has to be something that absorbs and it has to be something that could grow? Because the Torah says, "V'chiso be'afar." Just like earth is something that plants grow in it, so too everything else. There's a concept in the Gemara called klalu prat. If you have a very general rule, and then the Torah limits it, such as by us, it says v'chiso, it can mean anything, and then the Torah limits it to earth. So then it would be very, very limited and only earth. However, this rule doesn't apply here. Why? Because when the Torah says v'chiso, we have no idea what the Torah is talking about. It could be 1,000,001 things, and it could be both categories. It could be a kisui, a covering, such as just putting a pot over it without even touching the blood, or it could be a covering with small particles that absorb the blood. So then when the Torah comes and says ba'afar, the Torah is teaching us what the v'chiso means, so it's not a very limited thing, it's actually explaining what the v'chiso is, so then we don't have the rule of klal uprat. It's an amazing and a fascinating situation in the Gemara, where the Gemara brings this 3 times in Shas, where we have almost the same sugya, word for word, where Rava calls Rav Nachman bar Rav Chizda a burcha, which means a bur, and that word only occurs 3 times in Shas, and all 3 times it's Rava telling Rav Nachman bar Rav Chizda, and in all 3 times Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak or Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak comes and saves Rav Nachman bar Rav Chizda, and he uses the same exact lashon in all 3 places, but he always sticks in a different Manda Amar in all 3 places, and they're all 3 different sugyas. The sugya over here is that Rav Nachman bar Rav Chizda came and said that kisui adam, the kisui, the covering has to be something that something grows in it. Says Rava, burcha, that's burus. Comes Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak and says, wait a minute, I was the one that told Rav Nachman bar Rav Chizda this halacha, and I heard it from so and so. What was the halacha? The halacha is that if a person walks in the desert and he wants to shecht an animal, but he doesn't know how to do kisui adam. Now, if you stop right there, what do you mean he doesn't know how to do kisui adam? Take the dirt from the desert and cover it. The answer is because the dirt of the desert doesn't grow plants. And you see from here, there has to be something, dirt has to be the type of dirt that you can grow a plant in it. So what is the halacha if somebody's walking in the desert and he wants to do kisui adam? He should take a golden coin and crush it, and with the particles he should cover the blood. The Gaonim say, provided that the gold is worth less than the animal, otherwise it's bal tashchas. Now, if a person is on a ship and he has nothing, he doesn't have dirt to do kisui adam, so says the Gemara, he could take his talis, his beged, burn it, and use the ashes to cover the blood. How do we know that ashes are good? Because the Torah calls ashes, offer and afer, are intertwined. They mean the same thing as we see by paraduma. The Torah says that you should use the offer of the paraduma, and really it's afer. So you see that the Torah uses afer and offer interchangeable. And gold as well. Gold is also considered offer because it says in the pasuk, "Va'afrois zohav loy." The Shammai say no. Just because the Torah says "V'lakhu latomim me'afar sreifas achatos" doesn't mean that the afer is offer. It's only by paraduma the Torah says offer sreifas, afar sreifas. So that's a special wording, afar sreifas, but not every offer is afer. Says the Gemara that the Chacham later on added to the list of things that you could use for kisui adam, they added black coals and the lipstick that women use, chayil, and the particles in the millstone. It's not exactly, we're not sure what it means, because Taisa says it doesn't mean from the stone itself, because that would be included in stones. And some people say zarnich also, which is orpiment, which is some sort of yellow dust, sort of from arsenic, as you can see in the picture. Now says the Gemara, and we're going to continue the sugi tomorrow, in the Sachar that Avram Avinu told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Anoichi, offer ve'efer, so he was zoicha that his children will have 2 mitzvahs of offer and efer. Offer, we find, by the soita, you take the dirt, the earth from the Beis HaMikdash and put it into the cup with the water, mayim mararim, and then efer is the efer of paraduma that's matar. Both of those things give a hana to a person, shalom bayis for the soita, and tahara by the efer of the paraduma, because without that, people would touch a mason and be tummy forever. Whereas kisui adam is not part of this list, because kisui adam, even if you don't do kisui, you could still enjoy the animal. So the kisui adam doesn't give us any pleasure. Have a good vach, and I will see you tomorrow, Be'ezer Hashem.